What's up, everybody? Pretty impromptu video I'm doing here, but just something I decided to do because I really didn't see a whole lot of information online other than some written reviews on these speakers in general, and more specifically related to my situation where I kind of wanted to run it as stock as, well, I was going to keep it. So I'm trying to fill that void just because it's something I wanted to see and wanted some information on and did not have, so I figured I would just try to do my part here. So let me give a little bit of background. So as the title states, the component speakers I'm running are the JL Audio 650, JL Audio CS650s. Just in the front doors. I didn't do anything in the back. The back is actually rear speakers are stock. And it's a bit of a build in progress, and I'm going to go ahead and do some reviews and not really any unboxings, because I've already unboxed all the stuff I have, which is most all of it. You have to excuse the rain. It's a little rainy here in the city today. So I went ahead, and I have a Mazda Speed 3. It's a 2013 Mazda Speed 3. The head unit in here, even though it was the navigation touch head unit, honestly, it was trash. Just the big reason for me is I use USB for my audio pretty exclusively. I'm still, like to use Bluetooth and stuff like that for, my streaming, for Tidal. But whenever I'd use USB, it always would restart the USB from the very beginning, and random was not random. It was like a pre-selected random, and it would take a good 3 minutes for it to read the USB most of the time, at a minimum, every time I started the car, which wasn't cool. And the audio controls, as far as being able to make adjustments and stuff like that, was just terrible. All it had was the bass and treble. That's it. And processing isn't that good. So the car has a factory 10 speaker Bose, for what that's worth. I kept the rear speakers and rear tweeters that it has back there intact, and those are just gonna probably stay that way for a good while, just because the gains from upgrading the rear speakers isn't as much. But like I said, the head unit is upgraded. This is a AVH 4200 NEX Pioneer unit. It's very nice. It's got Android Auto, CarPlay, USB functionality, obviously, customizable background that I have there for the Mazda Speed logo. I'm trying to get a little bit closer. Yeah, that's give you a little bit better idea. And this like I said, kind of bear with me. I'm recording with my Celly. It's a LG V20, which has a pretty good camera and even better mics, which is kind of most important for this, to get a good idea of the audio quality. And the video may run a little bit long, but personally, I'd rather have a little bit longer video and give as much information as I can. So I'm going to kind of give my impressions of the speakers, along with the head unit as well, and do a little demo for what it's worth on camera. The mics in this phone are quite good, but you're still dealing with audio compression via YouTube and just playing through whatever speakers that you have, so it doesn't give a good representation of the sound. And it's raining, which makes it that much worse, so you're just going to hear a bunch of, but the speakers will definitely, they'll drown that out. So I got the head unit. Like I said, being the Bose, it has a factory Bose amp. I was really trying to avoid upgrading the amp as much as it would be nice to have that extra power and sound clarity. It's a lot of extra cost too. And with this car, it's being my newest car I've had, and I really do love this car. I'm trying to do it all as professional as possible, and I frankly just don't have the facilities to do it the way that would be what my idea of professional. So I went through a local audio shop to have the tent done. I installed the head unit myself. That was real easy. I just had to hook it up, get a pack. If you have the Bose audio, you have to have the pack interface. to be able to pass through to the Bose amp. Otherwise, it's not going to work, period, just to be straight up. That gives you steering wheel controls too, which I still have. It doesn't have the Bluetooth controls for answering phone calls and stuff like that. Well, actually, it's just these, sorry. Which isn't a big deal to me. That required me cutting actually into the factory adapter, and I didn't want to go that far with it. I have my volume, my skip, like basically all my audio controls I had on my steering wheel are still there, and they still work, which is great. And with this unit, I have all my graphic EQ, which I keep flat. I don't really like messing with the EQ unless I need to duck something down because it's too, overpowering, or the highs are just too sharp. I turned off the rear speakers for now. Subwoofer's off because I don't have my subwoofer yet. That's another thing I'm gonna actually do a video on once I get it, because there hasn't been anything. This is just a bit of a heads up. I guess I can cut it here. I'm gonna put it on full because I've been keeping on the 80 hertz slope. You can't really see too much here, but yeah, you probably see now. But cut off 18 dB at 80 hertz. Basically preparing for the sub. I don't want my mids and highs to play, any lower than that. So it just does better, and it keeps vibrations out the doors. I actually have sound deadening done on the front doors here since I had the speakers done. So let me adjust that. But it will be flat. I'm not boosting or cutting anything because honestly it doesn't really need to be done. So I'm just gonna cut that off for now to give you a good representation. But my impression of the speakers, I've had them in here for a week, a little shy of a week now, but they're very good. They're very, very good. Even without being, having an aftermarket amp attached to them, they're doing a very good job. One thing I was really worried about was a lot of stuff I read online. For what little information there is on this car online about car audio, there's a little bit here and there, but it's just very sparse and not very, well-rounded or plentiful, I should say. They were saying that the Bose speakers are actually 2 ohm, which I don't know for sure. It may be the case. It very well could be. It didn't say it on the speakers because I have the speakers that are pulled out. And I mean, they're paper cones, but the build quality on them isn't that bad. The magnets are tiny, but it doesn't say that they're 2 ohm, 4 ohm, 1 ohm. I've even read that they could be as low as 1, impedance, which is that's crazy. But the JL audio speakers I have in here are 4 ohm, and I'm using the crossovers with them too, obviously. If you don't use a crossover, you're losing a lot of the separation and benefit from having the speaker, as opposed with going, with whatever the built-in Bose amp crossovers are, which I don't want to work with that. So I mean, like I said, it was installed professionally, and got those in here. So they had the 4 ohm load for these speakers, and they still get plenty loud. I mean, they're good for what I need. I'm not looking to have something crazy. I mean, this is going to be a daily driver setup, just something for good sound quality. Got to get my sub in here, and I'll do a separate video on that. So look forward to seeing that here in the near future. But they do a really good job. The mids and highs are definitely there. And the one thing I'm very happy about is the highs are not too bright. I had a pair and still have a pair of Polk Audio DB6501s, I believe. The tweeters were to the point where on certain notes they sound like they're distorting, and it drove me nuts. I just had to do adjustments and stuff with the EQ and levels on the front stage, which is where they were. Just didn't like it, and I have not had the problem with these. And they're definitely not broken in yet. Like I said, I've only had them a week, and they don't have a ton of playtime on them, just because I play them when I'm in my car, which isn't all that much. But I want to give a quick sound demo. Overall, I'd rate them a 4.5 out of 5. I'm not going to go full 5, just because, I mean, there's definitely other good stuff out there. For the price point, I'm going to give them a 5. I nabbed these on Amazon for $150. On Crutchfield and in my local audio shop, they wanted $250 for them. $250 might be pushing it a bit. And I know I'm rambling on here, but I'm just trying to give all the information that I can think of that I feel like would be valuable, if I'm looking into purchasing these speakers. But they are very, very, very nice. They don't distort. I can't see how they would handle like real high power, just because I haven't heard them in that. I heard that they had them on the sound wall at the audio shop I went to. Just to throw the name of the audio shop out there, I do recommend them based off the work they did. They did a good job. It's Jackie Cooper Electronics in northwest Oklahoma City off of Rockwell. They did solid work. Some of their stuff is, for as much as I hate to say it, you do get what you pay for, and they're a little pricey on some things. Like I said, I had them do my tent, the sound deadening in the front doors, and get do the custom adapters so everything fit, and it ran close to the $500 range. So, like I said, not the cheapest in the world, but I want quality work that's going to last, that's going to sound good, that I'm not going to have to go back and do anything with. So I'm still happy with the work, and like I said, that includes my tent and everything. So, which is something I'm glad to have. So I'm going to go ahead and do a quick sound demo. I think I covered pretty much all the bases on everything, so you can get a listen, get kind of a feel for how they sound. I'm playing a full range right now. Based off my experience with these, playing them full range, my plans are to have a sub regardless. You definitely would highly benefit from a sub with these. I don't... The bass extension, at least through the factory amp, isn't the best. But they play mid bass just fine, which is exactly what I wanted. I don't want bass machines and the doors just to rattle and make a whole lot of noise. I want something that was able to play those highs, the highs and mids, and just leave it at that. So, trying to play a little bit of a diverse. I call it diverse, but something to give a good idea of the sound quality here, and something that won't get me flagged, hopefully, for copyright. But playing here, it's going to be Backwoods by J5 and Chrome Star. Some solid stuff. So I'm going to play a little bit of that, and then we'll jump to something else and conclude the review. So let's go ahead and hit play here. Okay. I'm adjusting my review a little bit here as I listen to these, because the more I listen to them, the more songs I listen to, the more time I give them to kind of break in, the more my perception of them changes. It's a 5. They're a 5 out of 5 speaker, especially at the $150 range. I haven't heard anything that I've bought at that price point even higher, slightly higher. I think I must have spent on a pair of speakers about $250, just because it's nice to save a little bit of cash. I considered some folk house speakers that I found used for the car, just because I heard on the sound wall and they sounded great. I don't know if I finished saying this earlier. I'm sorry. This review is going to be a little bit all over the place, so I apologize. But I just delivering it as it comes to me. But I heard these on a sound wall, and they didn't sound that good. I don't know if they had them wired incorrectly or what it was, and they're supposed to be like on the sound wall where you can pick the amp, pick the head unit, pick the speakers, but they didn't sound very good at all. In my car, they sound fantastic, and I'm so glad I kept them and didn't spend the extra cash, because these are perfectly good. But the bass on these, actually, I don't know if it's because they broke in more or what, but it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, like I said, they're still 6.5-inch speakers, so they're not gonna, play down real heavy, real low in the 40s and 30s. But I can tell that bass is there, and because I know the song and I know kind of where it hits, and I can tell it's there, and it's not distorted. Everything is clear as day. I'm gonna do a quick pause and review, find another song for us to listen to, try to get something a little bit different in there, but I'm actually more impressed now giving this review than I was before I even started the review. So if you want to cut it here, they're a 5 out of 5. Go buy them. Honestly, if you're looking for speakers that are a decent price range, save yourself a little bit of cash. I'd check on Amazon. There's a few other places that had them around $150. For that price, they're a freaking steal, man. And this is just running off a stock head unit. Well, not stock head unit, but the upgrade aftermarket head unit and the stock Bose amp and this Mazda Speed 3. So if you're in a similar situation like I am, don't hesitate. I always recommend an aftermarket head unit, just to give you that, be able to customize the way the sound processes through. But even to this Bose amp, man, these things are killer. I know that sounds like I'm cutting the review, but gonna play another song real quick, and we'll wrap her up. Alright guys, so we got our second song loaded up here. I'm just gonna leave it with this one. It's called Between You and I by Amparo. That's a compilation album. Intentionally keeping the songs a little on the obscure side, just to avoid copyright issues, like I said earlier. I picked this song specifically because on my Polks that I was mentioning earlier, on one of the lines here where it's a bit of a, I guess you can call it like kind of a synth line, or a lead in basically, that has some good highs in there. And they're well, defined. But on the Polks I had, they just distorted like crazy, like to where it was just so bright. Even with like cutting it down to the negative 3 dB and adjusting things on the head unit, it was still hard to get those right. I eventually got to a point where they weren't so bad, but man, it took some doing. So I'm gonna leave it with this song, play a little bit of it, and we'll wrap her up. you know, a pair of speakers are good whenever you have a hard time stopping listening to them. That's kind of where I was at. I wanted to keep on playing, but you know, try to cut it down. It's already been 20 minutes. So I appreciate y'all hanging in there. I don't know about you guys, but I like deep, long, comprehensive reviews, even if it takes a little bit of time. And these are a winner in my book. I will say, if you get them first and you're disappointed with the amount of bass you get out of them, give it time, because these have definitely loosened up a little bit and starting to give me a whole lot more response in the bass region. I would say if someone's not really trying to get a whole lot of sub, then they can work with these and it'll be just fine. So yeah, 5 out of 5. My since I started to let it play the bass, because I had, you know, with the intentions of what I have, I'm still going to cut the bass out. I mean, I'm going to cut it at lowest, it's going to be at 60, 63 cut, or probably 80. So yeah, these are excellent quality speakers, and worth every dime I paid for them, including the install. I can't say how things will be if you don't sound deaden the doors. I went ahead and had the sound deadening done just to get it out of the way while the speakers are being installed. I mean, it could be a lot lackluster result if I did not have that done, but I just had the outer door skins sound deadened just to avoid resonance and, you know, any kind of nasty vibrations, because I definitely did have some nasty vibrations with the Bose speakers, but that's probably for other reasons than, you know, the sound deadening. So, yeah, JL Audio CS650s. I hope I'm getting the name right, but I'm pretty sure that, yeah, JL Audio JL Audio C2-650s. Excellent quality speaker. If I miss saying the name, I'm going to put it in the title regardless, so I can't remember off the top of my head. More videos to come. Just trying to fill the void of information I was looking for whenever I was purchasing these speakers, that kind of thing, amp, you know, so on and so forth. It definitely a buy. Not gonna lie. Like these are probably the best speakers I've bought today, and I spent more money on other speakers and amped them with plenty of power, and was way more disappointed than I am with these. So yeah, as far as even just a stock replacement, these will do you good. But again, I always recommend the head unit if you're in the same situation with me with a Mazda and you're trying to upgrade the sound and you have a Bose. This is 2013. I don't know about, you know, anything beyond that, because they switched over to the new Mazdas. Mazda Speed 3 specifically here, you'll get an excellent sound. And this is with factory locations. I don't know if you can really see factory locations on all the speakers. Still got the sail panels in here with the factory grills. Same thing with the bottoms. Man, I'm really impressed. So thank you guys for watching. Signing out. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I'm not like I'm a big guy or nothing like that, but likes are always appreciated. You know, just trying to share what I enjoy and get the information out there. So y'all have a good one, and just look out for more videos on the build here. That's it. Y'all have a good day.